listening to the Art of Homeschooling podcast, where we help parents cultivate creativity and connection at home. I'm your host, Jean Miller, and here on this podcast, you'll find stories and inspiration to bring you the confidence you need to make homeschooling work for your family. Let's begin. While the summer months offer lots of time for fun and creative play, learning doesn't actually stop. Summertime is perfect for you to take educational field trips or learning vacation, focusing on your children's interests, visits to the library every week, and then curling up with a book on a blanket in the shade for a great family read aloud. The most important thing to remember at the end of the homeschool year is to focus on all that you have accomplished rather than what you didn't get done. And then free up your time in the summer for natural learning, because summer is natural for learning. Here's a question I get a lot this time of year as a homeschool mentor. Should I do lessons in the summer? You might be thinking about this too, especially if you are feeling like you didn't accomplish everything you planned for this year. But I really believe in taking a break in the summertime from formal lessons because we all need a break. Just remember that doesn't mean that the learning comes to a grinding halt. So in this episode, I want to share some simple ways to include natural learning in your summer rhythm. And I want to encourage you to set your intentions now so that summer doesn't slip away from you. I'm in the middle of leading a group of homeschoolers through the summer reset this week. It's this 4-step process I take homeschoolers through to wrap up one year and look forward to the next. And one of the comments that I hear most often is just how incredibly helpful it is to slow down and go through a step-by-step process of wrapping up one year, celebrating, taking a break, and then preparing for the next. It sounds so simple, but it's really the process that helps us recognize each of these very finite and practical steps. And setting those intentions is also key. What is it that you want to focus on this summer? So here are some questions for you that might help you begin to sort this out. Are you interested in your kids learning a few life skills? Perhaps it's reading practice. Are you wanting more writing practice? Perhaps it's math skills you want to focus on. So here are some thoughts about each of these. Summer reading is probably the easiest. You can get some inspiration from the author Beverly Cleary's DEAR strategy, which stands for Drop Everything and Read. Such a fun idea. Perfect for hot summer afternoons. Or sign up for your local public library's summer reading programs. My kids loved these. Kids can track their reading hours, earn prizes, connect with your community. For math skills, practice once or twice a week by playing math games. A great starting place is the Games Masterclass inside the Inspired at Home community. So many wonderful ideas there. And inside the Inspired at Home membership, you get a whole library of over 30 masterclasses. Maybe that's something you want to look into this summer for improving your skills. Okay, writing practice. This can be as simple as sending postcards to relatives or maybe a cousin or friend who might like to be a pen pal for this summer. And then your kiddos can exchange letters back and forth. And just by doing that having that real life experience, they will be practicing their writing skills. For learning a myriad of life skills, I recommend the Life Skills Now summer camp. This camp is 100% virtual, free, and the workshops are bite-sized, actionable. There are over 90 online workshops for kids ages 5 through 18, and there are even some workshops for the parents. It's organized by Katie at Kids Cook Real Foods, and it all starts June 12th. You'll find workshops on sewing, handling anxiety, cooking, lots of great cooking workshops, careers, finances, car maintenance, and so much more. And if you're listening to this in May, to this episode, you can get 3 early access workshops now. And those 3 workshops are building a salad bar, what's under the hood about checking all the fluids in the car, and coping skills for kids to help manage big emotions. Summer is a great time for learning life skills along with your kiddos to help them build confidence as they grow. I'll be sure to put a link to #LifeSkillsNow summer camp in the show notes, which you can find at artofhomeschooling.com/episode 135. So here's what I want you to do. Think about where your kiddos are in their skills development. And if you feel like they're in the gaining skills stage, this summer would be a great time to include some math, some reading, and writing in your summer rhythm. And it's always a good time. Summer's always a good time for learning life skills together with your kiddos. Research shows that the summer slide is actually a real concern. So I suggest being intentional about curiosity, learning, and practice. Like I said in the beginning, though, this doesn't have to be formal lessons. I really encourage you to take a break from more formal lessons and think about what we do as adults, as lifelong learners. If we want to develop a new skill like baking bread or singing in a group, we practice. We practice a lot. And if we're curious about something, say genealogy or nutrition, we have a tendency to dive deep and immerse ourselves in it, in that subject. Summertime offers a great opportunity to dive deep into a new subject and into your children's current interests. If you want my support to walk through 4 distinct steps to wrap up your homeschool year feeling accomplished and set some intentions for the summer, it's not too late to join the summer reset, which is going on this week. If you're listening to this in real time, join now and get the details on the 4 steps, get a reflection guide plus replays of all the community conversations with lots of idea sharing of how homeschoolers like you make the transition from the homeschooling year to the summertime. And later, you can still purchase the summer reset and go back and watch all of the replays. I want to acknowledge that homeschooling is not a job for the faint of heart. And you are doing such important work in the world, my friend. And in the words of my sweet mother-in-law, a mother's job is making memories. Summer is a great time for that. It's a great time for soaking up the sun and making unforgettable memories. May we never forget these magical moments. Thanks so much for joining me today. And don't forget to check out the show notes at artofhomeschooling.com/episode 135. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Art of Homeschooling podcast, your go-to resource for all things holistic homeschooling. Until then, wishing you a smooth transition to summertime. That's all for today, my friend. But here's what I want you to remember. Rather than perfection, let's focus on connection. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Art of Homeschooling podcast.